Welcome to the twisted world of 1920s asylums, where fear and dread were a daily reality. Today, I'll tell you a tale about Dr. William Hafner, a man whose dark ambitions turned an asylum into a house of horrors. In the early 1920s, the Hafner Asylum stood on the outskirts of a small, isolated town. The asylum was a shadowy place hidden behind thick, ivy-covered walls. Within its confines, the screams of the tormented echoed through the halls. But it wasn't the cries of madness that haunted the asylum. It was the chilling experiments of Dr. Hafner. Dr. William Hafner was a brilliant but unhinged physician. Obsessed with the idea of creating life, he drew inspiration from Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. However, his methods were far more grotesque. Hafner believed that by merging the minds and bodies of his patients, he could create a superior being, a monster that would obey his every command. His victims, the asylum's patients, were the most vulnerable souls. Already suffering from their own mental demons, they were subjected to unspeakable horrors. Hafner's experiments were conducted in a hidden laboratory beneath the asylum. There, in the flickering light of oil lamps, he performed surgeries that stitched, severed and twisted flesh and bone. The cries of agony were muffled by the thick stone walls, but the fear was palpable. One of his most infamous experiments involved two patients, Emily and Thomas. Emily was a young woman with a delicate mind, committed for her supposed delusions. Thomas was a war veteran, haunted by the horrors of battle. In Hafner's twisted vision, merging their minds would create a being of unparalleled strength and intelligence. The procedure was gruesome. Emily and Thomas were strapped to cold metal tables, unable to escape. Hafner's instruments glinted in the dim light as he began his ghastly work. The surgery lasted hours, with Hafner muttering to himself, lost in his demented reverie. When it was over, Emily and Thomas were no more. In their place was a grotesque amalgamation, a being of stitched flesh and tortured souls. But Hafner's creation was not the obedient monster he envisioned. Instead, it was a creature of rage and pain, driven mad by the horrors inflicted upon it. One fateful night, the creation broke free from its confines, its roars of anguish and fury echoing through the asylum. It rampaged through the halls, leaving a trail of blood and destruction. Dr. Hafner met his end at the hands of his own creation. The monster, in a final act of vengeance, tore him apart in the very laboratory where it was born. With Hafner dead, the creature vanished into the night, becoming a ghastly legend whispered among the townsfolk. The asylum was eventually abandoned, left to decay and rot. But the dark legacy of Dr. William Hafner lives on. Those who dare to venture near the ruins claim to hear the faint cries of the tormented, and on moonless nights, they say, you can see the shadowy figure of Hafner's monster, still wandering the halls, searching for peace. So the next time you pass by an old abandoned building, remember the tale of Dr. Hafner and his dark experiments. Some nightmares never fade. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more chilling tales.